to another episode of Financial Freeway. My name is David J. Atwood, the man rocking the Ray-Bans, and today it's a beautiful winter afternoon. Still got a little bit of sunlight left, but now we're on the opposite side of the winter solstice, so we're going to be able to get lighter in the afternoon and be able to keep up with our commute podcast from here on in. So we did it. We were on the other side of the mountain, so it's that's a good thing. So lots of light, so you can see this pretty gorgeous face, and I get to still keep rocking the Ray-Bans. Now today, I want to talk about the mental conditioning for financial success. And I was talking to someone, I believe it was yesterday, Boxing Day. And yeah, yesterday. So I was talking to someone yesterday about how to start, where to start. And there's all kinds of things. There's budgeting, there's starting to put 20% into a savings account. There's starting to live a frugal lifestyle. There's all sorts of things. But I've realized that the number one place to go to start on your path to financial or life of abundance is to save $1,000. Because it's a substantial enough amount that it's usable for everyone who needs that. It's just usable amount of cash, and you have to actually be disciplined to save it. You can't. It doesn't just happen with one paycheck. It's taking you a couple paychecks to get to that point. But once you get there, once you save that $1,000, it becomes part of your wealth building machine. Your life of abundance vehicle, if you were. So once you get that money put aside, you have to have the discipline to not touch it. And it's got to be your get out of jail, car broken on the side of the road, emergency fund. It's got to be a fund for a fire, an earthquake, civil unrest, something crazy. It can't be just because you need a little bit more for the groceries, or your debit card got declined at the McDonald's drive-thru. It's got to be something that you set aside and you leave and you don't touch in case, just in the event of a real, true emergency. And that's hard for a lot of people. With that much money, it's at that point where it's not a big deal, really. It's not going to change anyone's lives, but it does set your brain up to start getting used to the idea of having money set aside and not touching it. Because that's kind of what investing is. When you start investing, you can't look at your investments as a checking account or a savings account. It is a machine that you're building, just like a house. If you have a house, you're not constantly going to the bank to refinance it, to get cash out. It's the same thing with that emergency fund. It's there. It's a tool, and you can't start chipping away at it. So it's there for an emergency. But again, like I say, it's an exercise of the mind, because it's hard to get there. It takes discipline to get to that level where you have $1,000, but it's not impossible to get there. It's achievable. You put that $1,000 away. That's where you start. That's your emergency cash reserves. Get that done first thing, and then you can start looking at things like building an actual investment portfolio. But once, you just got to start with that one thing, and then you're able to move on and do bigger and better things. Most of what I've learned, especially, and this thing is one thing with age, is as you get older, you start to learn almost exponentially how important some things that you didn't think were important as a child or as a young adult. But I've learned that so much of being financially successful is not about actually having cash. Cash is not the issue. It's not the problem. It's getting your mind in that right state, in that right condition, that you can start to understand what cash is and what it can be used for. I shouldn't say cash, I should say actually money, because it is a very different thing. When you start putting that money together, it turns into something more solid. And I didn't realize that when I was younger. I always thought in order to be successful, you need to have a job that paid you a lot of money, or you need to win a lottery ticket or get an inheritance. And that's how other people did it. The reality is, a lot of people get wealthy not by inheritance, but actually by being frugal, saving and investing, and you just keep investing. I saw this video years ago, which kind of got me onto the whole stock market idea, from this girl. She was like 23 years old, really young, living in Indonesia, and she was living off $1,000 a month. But that $1,000 a month came from her investments. And she said, when she started the video, someone asked her, how did you get to the point where you could make $1,000? She says, well, first you need $250,000 in an investment account. And my mind was blown. Like, how did you get to $250,000? Well, it was really simple. She just kept every paycheck putting $200 away. No matter what happened, it was always $200. Whether the market was up, the market was down, she just kept investing $200 every paycheck. And in 2008, she was investing, and that's when the market was crashing. She kept investing the same amount. It's a term called dollar cost averaging. But the point was, she had gotten to a level in her life where that $250,000 was not cash. It was the principle. It was the machinery, the mechanism of her vehicle that got her to a point where she could get $1,000 a month. And that was really the most important thing, was getting that $1,000 a month. She understood that if she went in and started dipping into that principle, she wouldn't be entitled to that $1,000 a month. But this is why it's important to get your brain and your mind in that right set, that right position, to actually understand what it's all about. That's why saving that $1,000 is such a great place to start. It's achievable, it's quantifiable, you can get to it within 6 months pretty easily, and then we can start tackling the high interest debt, and then we can start tackling how to build your investment portfolio. So if you're looking for a good place to start, that's where I'd like you to start. Start there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't already, check out financialfreeway23.ca, financialfreeway23.ca. That's where all the good stuff is. That's where all the videos are. But we also put a lot of other things in there, blog posts, as well as resources on how to get your commuter MBA, is what we're calling it these days, which I just love. So all that stuff is available for free at financialfreeway23.ca. But again, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, tell us you like it, and share the post, share these videos with your friends, and let everyone know in the world that everyone has an inalienable right to live a life of abundance. Thanks so much. Yeah.